Peekaboo. Fooled Jiraco. All right, welcome everyone. Didn't have the show for the past couple of days. Was just out of town and things, but we are back here to see these crazy markets. See also just a fast tidbit. Meta just reported earnings and they're down 10%. So we'll see how much of a drag that's going to be on the nasdaq tomorrow. These markets having a hard time finding their way. Let's first recap what happened today, and we'll go from there. Alrighty. But these markets have been tough to trade. Okay, so today, China, man, rallies 2%, while nat gas plunges down 7%, and airlines and European financials fell around 1.5%, give or take. Alrighty. All right, so let's get some charts up in a second. So today, stuff that was up big time. FXI up 1.8%. Chinese internet up 2.3%. And Hong Kong up 1.7%. So this was all, the gains were out of Asia today. S&P today was flat. NASDAQ up 0.3%. IWM down 0.4%. And a small digestion down day for the volatility for VIX. And the down moves, airlines, nat gas down huge, 7%, and European financials down 1.25%. So let's pull up some charts, and it's always good to see the past winners and losers of the past week and best trades. But I mean, you can see it right here. Chinese internet been crushing it. And it's not just Baba. There's a couple things in there. We don't have to really get into the nitty gritties, but I think I actually saw KWeb is beating NASDAQ on the year, but I can't confirm that. And then short volatility has been a good trade, and long the regional banks has been the third best trade in the market. So let's pull up some trades and see if this stuff is viable. Let's see if anything's suggesting an entry for tomorrow or something. So let's see. All right, so here is there's Meta right here. We had a VWAP of about 50 points higher than here, and right now live it's trading down 10%. So like I said, it will drag down XLC for sure, as it's a chunk of that communications fund. Probably drag down Google tomorrow and drag down the NASDAQ. But let's zoom way out. Let's look at SPY. So one of the issues I have with this is, so we thought this would potentially be a bottom. A couple things could happen. Might have give and take and have some chop for 1 to 3 weeks around this level, around 50, we'll deal in SPY terms, around 510 level, give or take about 10 to 15 points upside and downside. The upside takes you to 525, which is the all-time high. And then the 15 points away would get you to 495, which is the low on the 19th. So 484, but who's counting? So you're going to be, chopping around that range. The high was put on March 28th. Looks like we're spotting a bit of a recovery. We got to the 50 RSI pretty quickly, and we should have some consolidation around here. The crazy curveball of earnings is that it can throw this up or down. Right now, I think tomorrow's going to be a down day, assuming, who knows? We'll see. It's early, but Meta's down, 10%. And sometimes when they had last earnings and they upped the dividend, or they had a dividend issue and, buyback and all that stuff, stock lifted and helped really a lot of tech earnings. Right now it might be doing the opposite, and it's not the right time for this to happen. I still give this market wiggle all the way down to there. It would be ugly and shake a lot of weak hands out, as we've said. But right now I still see us to give and get around 510 in SPY. What my issue is, this old support where we're all getting so just mad bullish and euphoric, is if that old support is now our resistance. So you get to 510 or so, and then it's, we can't do it anymore. It's like when you're working out all the time, and then you stopped working out, 10 push-ups or something, or 10 crunches seems like the world because you've been out of it. That's kind of the way that the SPY could approach this old familiar level of 510. It's very important to me, the 510. It's a 21 exponential moving average, as well as the 14-day 50% RSI. So want to see how the market reacts to trading there. So we'll see. All right, let's get into some of the names on the sheet here, looking for setup. So Largest mover of the day by multiple, sorted by multiple sigma move, the FXI up 1.9, a big move. What do we do with this here? Excuse me. So to me, it's at target. I don't like, I'm looking at the top upper Bollinger Band, and it got right here to 200-day moving average. I think it gets the Kembade, but this is a strong area. Where do we close on New Year's Eve last year? 24, and it's 25 quarter. Not a horrible gain. I mean, if you were able to stomach this, things were ugly here, and you never got oversold. So you have a divergence here on January 22nd, and you say, you know what? This could be worth the gamble. And then boom, if you got that, you got a rip shot, really, from 21 all the way to 24, and this is where it really starts to hurt its head. If this gets stabilized for a while longer, yeah, I mean, to the upside due to positioning and such. I just don't love it. And the lower Bollinger Band is 23, upper is 25. If you play it here, congratulations, great trade. Right now, not crazy ambitious on selling it just due to the strength. But, and really, this thing hasn't really lived under 50 RSI in terms of being identified as a loser, really since here, February, before Valentine's Day. It was when this was really a loser, more of a higher velocity, downward sloping moving averages, 200-day as well as the 50. But here, yeah, it hit its head. I'm not going to play. A subset of this is KWeb, the second biggest mover today. I'm guessing there was strong numbers out of China last night, or so they say. So here's the Chinese internet. It's going to look very similar. Also hit its head. So here's something. It actually got above its 200-day moving average. This sometimes can be a harbinger, a leader of things to come for broader indices in the same nation, right? So if Chinese internet is thriving and it broke through this resistance, which has been, let's face it, served as pretty significant overhead for a long time. I'm saying back from last August, in a way. This could be a sign of things for me to bite my words on what I just said, and FXI goes higher. Basically, push the page a week, right? So we can go from here 26 to 28. Interesting move. I mean, it gets your in nosebleed territory here with the 28 handle. I don't love it. The 52-week high is back here last July 31st at 32. I don't love it here. A much better entry would be around 26 if you do like this China story. Be careful with positioning, although not a lot of people want to rush into such a uninvestable geographical asset classes here. But interesting, it's definitely in view. And another one, big mover today, Hong Kong, EWH. So there's a lot going on. Today was just about China to the upside, on the upside part. We'll look at the downside. But this is way away from its 17. This is a crappier story. Oversold here. You can see the crimson red here, just recapturing its 50-day RSI. I'm sorry, it's a 14-day 50% RSI. Yeah, I mean, this could march to the beat of a drum like the rest. KWeb is the leader in that regard, then an FXI, then an EWH if you're doing in accordance of how far we are away from a downward sloping 200-day moving average. The other ones are starting to stabilize. I've just seen this thing get sold hard many times, so I would not be super ambitious or optimistic above like 1575. I just don't think you have that much there. But if you do want to play contrarian, you can play this. Asia looks like they're getting bids. Just be careful; it's getting a little bit heavy. Nat gas. I wasn't available. I did not short this one. Let me make the chart a little bit more friendly so you can see this is a 3-month. So this is not becoming the old reliable, simple, short that it used to be. Honestly, looking at the chart, my perfect entry would have been on the 11th. I have here, and I'm not even, being cute and taking the high print, being, oh, perfect. No. So I'm saying here on the 11th is when I had intended to short 13 days ago. And the VWAP today was 1498. You got a big plunge today. It was up a bit and then lower. The 52-week low came after. And now we're bouncing. Yeah, I don't buy nat gas. Here, it might recoup half of these losses tomorrow. It's a high vol, security. but I'm not going to buy this. You're going to lose money in options if you do this, expecting a 3% bounce tomorrow. And when the implied vol is so high, you got to have a better structure than that. You can sell strangles, but it's tough on a $14 ETF. But this one down hard, down 7%. Excuse me. A big move lower. Don't see a setup though. Also, it's very difficult to throw fresh money at this market, long or short. You got to be careful because I think we're short-term oversold. I think we could still mean revert about 1% higher than the S&P. You just got to be careful with your allocation, especially with the different durations of the options. Airlines. This one, I'm hopeful this actually has some sort of a setup. All right, so this one was on my sheet. This one, I'm seeing a brick wall of support, 1875, although that's way away. You would look like a genius if you bought on the 16th, but that was after quite a drawdown off the 52-week highs from $21 all the way to 19. That's 10%, pal. So that's a big move. And now we're, rocks throw away from the 52-week high. I want to give us a couple weeks, like 2 weeks. The market is just a little off. And this is obviously going to be correlated in some way with oil prices. And there's been geopolitical risks, although that's been minimized a bit recently. The Bollinger Band looks like it's basing too for someone that made its highs 23 days ago. Doesn't look bad. I would give it about another week or two. I am looking for an entry in assets like this that I'm not currently in. If you can get an entry around 20 quarter, I would take it with a target of like 21.5. I'm assuming it is going to make new 52-week highs after basing, in this period. I see this all as basing going back to February. Okay, that's on this chart. Let me go on a 1 year. Yeah, I mean, I love the support there around 1880, and you've seen all the volatility with oil as of late, and this hung in there. There's a lot of airlines in the news. Give it around 2 weeks. I know I hate saying that too, but if you get entry around 20, I would take it. All right, but Jets, a big mover lower today, starting to work our way, but this one needs time as well in terms of duration, as well as a price consolidation. And then the last one, a multiple standard deviation move. European financials, not going to get into the nitty gritty of this. I don't know if there was an earnings collapse from one of the banks, I'm assuming, but a down 1.1 move is pretty significant. This is a superstar, as you can tell. Hit a 52-week high just less than 3 weeks ago at $23. A nice shaving today, down 1.1%. Nice rising 200-day moving average. Overbought for quite some time for a full month there, and overbought here for a full month. Pretty interesting, pretty strong. I like this here, and the 21 exponential move, it's getting a little bit volatile. Is 22.20. If you can get this 1% lower, I don't want to penny and dime here, but if you get it's entry is very important. You want to be somewhat stubborn, but disciplined and flexible all at one time is what makes trading so much fun, so easy. This looks strong. This does not look bad. I had EUFN on my sheet about like a month or two ago and did not get in. This doesn't look too bad. It's not going to be super liquid. This has, I'm guessing, a couple 100,000 in shares, average daily volume. So be careful with options, of course. You may have to pick a constituent of that. And it was UBS down 3.6% today that dragged this lower. I don't know if it was specific news, but UBS looks like is why it was down quite hard. All right. What else? Okay, so that was EUFN. Looks good. I would, again, if you get consolidation, if it comes back a little bit, just 1% or so in the next day or two, I would pull the trigger. And the target, though, nothing huge, nothing crazy, just to match its 52-week highs, this 23 level. So not shooting for the moon. Be careful. Options probably going to give it to you because of the low liquidity of this name. You might have to play UBS directly or Deutsche Bank and then look at the other constituents in that ETF. All right. So one of my favorite parts. So top 5 gainers of the past 5 days. You wouldn't have thunk it because they've been losers from last year, and now there's a rotation into them. K-Web is the best long in the market for the past week, only week. And it's also the best absolute trade of the past week, meaning long or short. Up 10% in the past 5 days, or up 2% average per day. What was it up today? 2%, right on average. We looked at this earlier. I'm not going to do this again. I think it's hitting its head, but this thing has been a superstar absolutely in the past week from 25 to 28. You just don't get that. And it's not just BABA and stuff like that. Interesting, though. Best trade in the market right now. And for sure, one of the big factors is positioning and potentially positive data that's coming out of China. Regional banks, the second best long in the market, up 7% over the past week. Couple of reasons. You saw the 10-year bounce around. I think it closed at 467 today or so, or it was trading there earlier. This is, geez. I'm speechless because I don't like trades like this where it bases for months. I think, what is this? Over here, this line is February 1st. So this thing's between 49, or call it 50, and 46, 45. Yeah, so that 10% range for the past 2.5 months. So in options, you're going to get killed if you have, you tilt directional. So you're going to have to do much more selling strangle, especially in higher volatility mover like this. The regional banks, trying to think. Don't like buying in here. This thing has been straddling around that 46 quarter level. I'm looking at the 200-day moving average. It doesn't get too far away from there. It hit its 52-week high the week before Christmas. So you're, chasing a ghost here, so to speak. It is trying to build its way out. Yeah, no trade for me. I hate to be, passing on everything, but you got to be really selective. And I know this is on the superstar path in terms of the past week, but to me overall seems like dead money. I don't like the money flow, the Chaikin money flow, the exiting out of this area since March 13th. It just looks like to me it's going to be heavy, and it's not going to break out above this $50 range. So for $1 upside, doesn't do it for me. Next, that was the KRE. FXI we did. I don't like repeats, yo. IBIT, the fourth best long of the week from, it's not massive, but it's up 5.5% over the past week. Still like crypto, still like Bitcoin. Let me pull up the chart here. This is a very short chart because this one basically came out January 11th. Rising moving average here. Still like it. I think you have to dampen your expectations a little bit on Bitcoin in the near term. I'm not really going nuts with, like August or October targets. But for right now, in the near term, I would say maybe just, hold on to your horses. All that being said, I still don't think this has, I think this could get to, around this. You need crypto obviously to get to 75K. You need Bitcoin to get to 75K. Don't love this little inside wedge, this channel here. Just looks like we're, kind of buying time while being range bound. All that being said, though, I still like the positivity. I love the upswinging curve here, rising moving averages. The lowest point it's had was January 23rd, and it's been going up ever since with some consolidation. Still like the setup. I've been saying it for a while now. So if you like it, I think you can still get back in. Maybe dollar cost average into this. Be careful with the options. Bitcoin is like a 70 vol asset, so you don't really need options on it unless you're psycho like I am. I have shares as well as the options. It's very difficult to play with options, obviously. And the fifth best long in the market, who to thunk it? And this is what's surprising people. XLU utilities is actually the fifth best long in the market. It's up 4%, 4.5% in the past week, or almost 1% a day. This is utilities. Gosh darn it! Very surprising. It does look like sort of a positive story. It looks less weak than other parts of the market. All that being said, though, I'd rather buy this at a much safer point of like, say, 63, and I feel like I was paying up. So love it here, this 200-day moving average, where it used to be what? Used to serve as resistance, and now support. So I'm going to get in at support. This had been resistance, but this is when we were in our crazy euphoric, semiconductors phase, and we'll look at that in a minute. Yeah, I mean, the better trade would be get in at 63 and get out at like 67. I'm not trying to go nuts with this, but I'm not going to be trading that. All right, and now those were the best winners of the past week. So if you were in Chinese internet, regional banks, China, any part of it, for the most part, Bitcoin and utilities, congratulations. You are on the winning side of the 5 best longs in the market. Now, losers. I got to minimize the screen because it's going to be too tough. VXX, the biggest loser in the past week. Like I said before in a video like a week or two ago, I always like to see when this is the biggest loser, because when that means when volatility compresses, panic leaves the market. We were a little bit too concerned, a little bit too worried, and usually that gives way to a relief rally. So when VXX is your biggest loser, typically like to see that, and some other things that we're seeing as well. It's silver, it's gold. So we'll see. Those were kinds of fear defensive trades, right? So here's VXX. I had said before, and I'm no prophet. I said it was going to hit its head right around 1570. Okay, and I did that by Bollinger Bands. What is this level right here? 1565. It literally hit 1571 on the 19th, and we've been going lower. My target for this is, so 2 things. It's 21 exponential moving averages right around 14 quarter. You dipped under that today with a 1% lower move. If this gets to 12, okay, 12 is my target. That would take out the 52-week low, though. So you would need to, that would inversely correlate with new all-time highs for SPY. I don't know if you get that, which makes me think that we are going to hold that for a bit and maybe head towards a 12, 1290, 1315, around there. So I see some consolidation, more of this to come lower, but we'll also see what effect Meta has on, the market tomorrow. Silver, we were saying before for a long time, I'm trying to wrap this up soon, that silver and the metals have to have quite some time to consolidate. I said I wanted to get around what? Around 2480 level. Where did we close? 2490. Exactly what I said too. When it comes down to your level, you're not going to want to buy it. Okay. So in terms of the duration, I have on this as well. I have, like, for the end of the week, I have on my notes April 27th, by April 27th to enter and get in that 2480. Today was down a 1/3%. This thing, let me put up a 1-year chart, had its highs. That's an ugly candle. You knew that wasn't going to hold. This was a bit of too crazy euphoria. I don't like looking at the wick on that. Bearish engulfing. You knew we were headed lower. And then, my goodness, what a fall from the 19th. That Friday to Monday when that panic happened. I think it was when Israel, Iran strikes and all that. This thing went from a close of 2620 to 25, basically. And now that's where we are now. If it holds, you got to kind of, this is where things are going to get a little bit hairy. If people are getting into, China and this positioning and moving into assets like that, this doesn't look so attractive anymore. But it has been, for the most part, a superstar. Trend ID of, positive here, being overbought. Don't love that. But this was in October when the market as a whole was looking like crapola. Give it some time. For all intents and purposes, if you're a believer in the story with the Fed and everything else, and it's what the aspirations are with rates and what the effect has on dollar-related currencies, or dollar-related, and this is denominated in dollar, obviously, and you think the story is up, you should be buying very close to where we are. 2480 is not a bad entry. Just be really careful. Silver, the second biggest loser in the past 5 days, down 3.5%. You have other chance of other things related to that metal. This is going to be all similar looking charts where we said give it a couple of weeks. So this has been a good story. XME's had, differing strengths. This was a superstar last winter, and then it resumed its strength on April 12th to new 52-week highs, like the rising 200-day moving average. Not as crazy volatile as a silver. And it came down and tested support, this 58, the lower Bollinger Band. Where would the last buyer set up when it got overbought? Right here, right where we are today, 59. I like this. This looks like a better one too. I'm just a little bit skittish about putting money in the market, but I do like the European financials for a long. Be careful. I had a lot of bleed out today. I also like the metals and mining. We were saying give it time. If you think you want to enter that story, it does have a nice chart, and this does not have that period of being oversold in October. This actually, in fact, didn't buckle under 35 RSI. So a strong performer. I like this one better, less volatile than silver as well, and you'll find liquidity in XME. GLD, this was overbought for the longest freaking time. Okay, let's see this. This one, I would just give it a little bit more time. Silver looks very close to ready, in my opinion. XME better candidate. This one's crazy. It's not overbought anymore. You had that fall on the 19th to the 22nd as well. And if we're talking the stock here, went from a high of 222 on that Friday to 215 on Monday. Quite a move. And we were talking about this like pine sky type stuff. We're like, oh, we need it to come down to this level. Never going to get it. Well, now you're here. What are you going to do? Yeah, 214 is literally what I have written down here. And in terms of entry, did I also have April 27th for an entry date by then? Yeah, I had the 26th to 27th. So this one looks ripe. Looks close. Looks close. Where to become overbought? Right here on March 4th is when it began, and that's 196. I think it could bleed a little bit lower. I think you get a couple more. It depends what the market does, though. I know that's not really telling you a whole heck of a lot, but we were waiting for these entrants to come in. There is still good money flow. There are large dealers buying this. Still in the close, not as much as on April 11th when it was making these crazy highs, 219, 225. But I like gold sucks to trade. It almost always feels like a loser unless you get in this crazy euphoria states. But be careful. You don't obviously need SLV, XME, and GLD, DOI, but you can pick one if you're not exposed in any, and that's likely the path I will take by the end of the week. And lastly, so gold down 2% over the past 5 days. And then the last loser of the past week, semiconductors. So could be rotation going on. Like I said, I like seeing VXX on the loser list because it means panic is going down. Market's likely to rise. Don't love seeing semiconductors on the loser list unless it's setting up for a buy right here, and especially when it's towards the lower part of the list, which it is. It's the 5th loser of the past 5 days, not the biggest. Down 2% for the past week. So not much per day. And it's basically flat today. Let's take a look at the chart. I'm not in Taiwan Semiconductor anymore. That position went away on OPEX on Friday. So I'm not in the semiconductors right now. I don't like the money flow on this. There seems to be better trades right now than tech. I'm not going to slam 2023 superstar. You can see all the periods here. You see these blue spots. This thing gets basically overbought every month. It just hasn't. Did we get oversold? You got to a 31 RSI, so it's pretty damn close. Yeah, that was the weakest it's been since September 21st. I mean, if you have nothing on, I would be prepared to stomach some volatility because things aren't going swimmingly for this group, and they peaked, to be honest with you, before St. Patty's Day. So this is a little bit in the rear view, but it is a superstar. I would hope that it would consolidate between where it set its bounds, right? So between that 236, the all-time high, and 200. So it's a tough one. I'm not going to be looking at throwing cash at this right away. I'm also still, I am still in XLK, so I do have some tech exposure, but that's the Apple, Google, and Broadcom fund. So I do have some exposure to this, but I'm not adding here. Still a good looking chart. I mean, come on, I'm not going to let, the past month and a half fool you, and it never got oversold. There is still a line of buyers here, just not as powerful as they once were. We're coming down on 29 minutes here, so let's wrap this up. Best 3 absolute trades of the week: long K-Web, short volatility, long KRA. Whenever I see short VXX as one of the best absolute trades of the week, tells me you should be selling options. And we were long K-Web as the best trade of the week. What should you be doing? Selling puts. Considering it's heading a 10 on the top of its upper Bollinger Bands, just maybe pick a conservative level to sell, maybe like a 10 delta put. Just make sure you're getting paid the right amount. And then long KRA, yeah, you could also be selling puts in the regional bank ETF. Just again, be careful, make sure you're getting paid appropriately. All right, so glad to be back on that. Yeah, we'll be back. We doing it tomorrow? We are doing it tomorrow, and should also be able to do Friday, so we wrap up this week. All right, y'all. Peace.